Welcome.
Welcome. This is Brain Farts.
This is Brain Farts. Welcome
Yeah.
to Brain Farts. My name is Drew,
My name's Justin.
and what we do is we sit down and waste our time just talking about random things.
Yeah. Most of those things get lost in space and time, so I think it's appropriate to call it Brain Farts. Mm-hmm. You know.
The irony being, we speak about space-time quite a bit, actually. We were, Justin and I were sitting here, we were talking about some of his passions, and I'd like to return to that. So we had been talking about our love of animal husbandry, or our new introduction to it. And so it just so happened that a few predators ended up in Justin's duck pen. Please elaborate a little.
Yeah, no, I had ducks, and my ducks, I had them with chickens, so I had a separator and everything, and the duck coop was inside of the run. And if anyone doesn't know what a run is like a little cage that you have outside your chicken coop so the chickens can run outside during the day. And I woke up one morning, and I go out, and I go to open the door, and it was like a really weird horror movie. Because nothing seemed out of the ordinary. Everything was closed up nice and tight, and I opened the door, and there are two half-eaten dead ducks right there. And I was just like...
So he did at least have a meal on them. He didn't kill them and just like abandon them like a sort of
No,
like an FU.
He ate.
Okay.
It was a weasel. I found out later. Like I know it's a weasel, and then I got a raccoon caught on camera. I put a little trail camera out, and I got a raccoon caught on that trail camera. He was going up my post, comes down into the fence, and he's searching for eggs. So didn't get any that time. So it was nice.
That's actually kind of cool. I was kind of hoping.
Cool. I lost two ducks.
The story was
How the
cool.
fuck
The
is that
loss
cool?
of the ducks isn't cool whatsoever. Well, it's a lesson learned, right? We have to see the glass is half full. You know, let's start with the trigger warning.
This program is probably going to offend people, but that's okay. We have discussions, actual discussions. And in order to learn, you have to risk being offended sometimes. So that is our philosophy, and we're sticking to it. And we're going to talk about some things today.
Some popular things, unpopular things. Really, we'll encounter a certain, we just want to, we want to embrace idiocy for the sake of it. Just sitting down and enjoying each other's company. Like us, hate us, comment below, do everything you can, engage in the discussion if you may. I think that I'll explain our beautiful symbol behind us.
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you about that, what that meant.
Okay, so the alligator is an excellent creature. I think that there's something about alligators that I like as an apex predator, is that they kind of chill on their own, and they just kind of hang out. You know what I mean? Like, you leave them alone. Leave them alone, and they'll tend to leave you alone, right? So you fuck around with an alligator, dude, you'll find out straight up right away. So to me, it's a modernization of the Gadsden snake. Don't tread on me. It's just, it has a certain appeal to the modern generation. I think that it is what it is, dude. We live in a meme realm, in a meme world.
Hey, look, your green on your shirt is
I'm melding in. This is
melding
actually,
in. This is pretty cool. I like
this.
that.
That's actually not a trick of cameras or anything. That's my aura. Yeah, that's my.
You live and breathe this. This
I
is
live
why
and
it's
breathe
bleeding
this.
through you.
Yeah, so it's just that this technology somehow exposed my superpowers as a leprechaun.
This is amazing. You know, I can eat.
It explains the facial
Our
hair.
bees, then our bees like the equivalent of alligators, because you leave them alone, they won't fuck with you. Mm-hmm. But then you go and you're like, oh ha 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 bee, and you're fucked. You're done.
Essentially, I mean,
Some people die from bee stings. Period. Like,
yeah. I mean, you have Africanized honeybees that I believe have, started colonizing the United States, and so they're breeding with the European honeybee. And if I'm not mistaken, the difference between the Africanized honeybee and a traditional European honeybee is that if you threaten the hive, they'll chase you and such, but they they will retreat after a while. Like they're chill. They're like, okay, like
Like they sting you only when they feel threatened.
Yeah, yeah. And so what happens is that with the Africanized honeybees is if this might have been a story, okay, look me up on this, but I'm fairly certain it's true. The Africanized honeybee will chase you, and they will chase you and chase you and chase you, okay? And then like you could jump into a pond and like hold your breath and hide and hide and hide, and those bastards will wait for you. They will wait to rain their hell fury down, dude. So like
That's a movie right there.
yeah, I'm telling you, man. Nature, Mother Nature has had an excellent way of creating life that is so remarkably amazing and yet so remarkably unpleasant to human life.
Oh my god.
Like earwigs. Why?
Oh my god.
June bugs.
Yeah, June bugs. What's funny, I love this concept of there's a periodic where June bugs come out in May, and then mayflies come out in June. I don't know if anyone knows what a mayfly is.
Don't they only live a day?
I'm not too sure. Hey, you know what? We let's utilize Google.
Okay, my telephone is at present is not
Is
functioning.
not present. Okay,
No.
well let's see if mine will do it here. That's something we should probably. You should.
So
definitely.
we would like to, even though we like to josh around, we don't like to be the most misinformed individuals. And so we utilize what I describe as the modern library of Alexandria. If you're aware of the history behind it, if I'm not mistaken, the Ottoman Empire burnt the library of Alexandria. I could be totally friggin' wrong on that. But an empire burned the library in Alexandria, which had a wealth of knowledge that the ancient civilizations had developed and had recorded. And so now we have it digitally, which is Google. And so the funny part, though, about this library is that you have to be able to sort between the trash and
The war on information that we are in right now. Is
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, the idea is what is fact.
What is fact and what is not fact, and what is fact that's been stretched and misconstrued, or like the game of telephone. Telephone happens all the time in politics. I see it now. So.
Yeah, I mean, let me make sure the word's right. Okay, Google,
Oh yeah, let's do it.
what's the definition of the word epistemological?
I don't think it registered.
Your phone's mobile data is turned off, so I can't help you with that at the moment.
I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Google is disagreeing with
My
me. a
data
little
is
bit.
on. So let's-
Either way, I think what it is that we ask these sort of like out there questions of facts these days. Sort of like, what are the sources? You know what I mean? You want to know a bias on something. I'm like, I'm not the guy that you're going to come to, and ask my opinion on, say, like taxation. And
Right.
not expect an answer, and not expect an answer from a certain direction. It's going to, you know what I mean? You just know what to expect,
Here, let me see here. Okay, Google.
Only mine's engaging. All right, well, we'll have to cancel on Google today, folks.
Yeah.
She'll be a guest on a future show.
That's unfortunate.
Or, yes, it is. It is. But either way, I implore our viewers to check us up on it. It's actually really cool. I can't necessarily say I recall exactly what we were talking about. Was it the killer bees hanging out over you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Killer bees, my ducks. We were talking about the alligator, the crocodile.
The crocodile.
And I wanted to, because bees were the same way, So.
Yeah, it's sort of like, don't throw a rock at a hornet's nest. It's just improper. It's not a nice thing to do. So think, even if they are unpleasant creatures, they serve a purpose. I've been attacked by a swarm of hornets before, and it's not fun. But they serve. So just leave them alone, and they'll leave you alone. That's sort of the key. You gotta leave nature where she's at. Love her, appreciate her from afar.
This is why I don't like technology.
Why?
Because you realize how distracted I was in trying to get it to go.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is. And so,
It's like this never-ending. I can still work. Maybe it can still work. Maybe I could spend the next 5 seconds but I just missed 5 seconds of what Drew told me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I honestly, some people can multitask quite well.
I don't think I can. I think it's because so many women in my life have told me men can't multitask that I literally can't.
It's one of those things where I like to believe I can, but it's really, I'm not convincing anybody. It's
God bless them, because they use it as a joke. It's great. My mother used to say that all the time as a joke. But
it was sort of like back in the day when Mom would be like, go look for this, and it's like I can't find it, and it's literally right in front of you. My
Yes.
mother, like,
well, that still happens to
you
me
look
today.
with your eyes shut.
Does anyone see my phone? Yo, dude, can you look for my phone?
I did.
Oh
that
wait,
the
it's
other
right in
day.
my hand.
I did that the other day with my keys. I was like, oh, I hit my mic, guys. I'm sorry. So what was I had the keys in my hand. I was like running around the house, like, where are the keys? Where are the keys?
They're right there.
Literally around my ring finger, like
Yeah.
kind of chilling out. In my
Yeah.
hand. Yeah. So I mean, this is the sort of absent-minded, behavior that we sort of like to
It's
demonstrate.
like we're blinded by black mirrors, and now a lot of people can't really, I don't know, think beyond some certain things. Like, I was trying to explain to one person, he thought I wanted to bring about the end of the world or something, but I was explaining to him that the curve from COVID-19, like how when scientists first ran simulations to see which outcome would be better in terms of eliminating or reducing the amount of people going into the hospital and reducing the amount of rate of infection. And if you look at the graph and you look at what it would look like to let the disease, and it's horrible to say, it really is. It's horrible to even think about. And you look at global economics of mankind and how many of us are there, you kind of have to say, well, how much does one outweigh the other? But in terms of that graph being infecting everybody, right, to the point where the virus has nowhere else to go. So it's peaked, hit recession, it dies. A lot of people die, yes. A lot of people die. It's very sad to say. But with that happening, those survivors, all of them have immunity. All of them have antibodies. Whereas what we did was we cut that curve. And by cutting that curve and reducing it, we've only slowed it, because not everybody went along with, oh, I can't leave, oh, I can't do this, oh, I can't do that. No one stood still instantly to stop everything. People still wanted to go to places. So you still have a steady rise going up. And that flattening of the curve plus that rise equals a longer lifespan in the population itself until you hit recession. And a longer lifespan, unfortunately, means the virus has more time to mutate, and mutate multiple times, and to become progressive and get worse to the point where you can't stop it.
So, I'm not going to claim that I am at all an infection control scientist whatsoever.
I'm
right?
not either.
I'm not. This is merely an opinion.
Yep.
Okay, so from what I've heard, right, I read a very short.
Just from looking
tidbit.
at the graphs and
that,
thinking about what happens.
Well, see, herd immunity is possible, I believe, either through some form of developed vaccination, or, of course, just giving it to everyone. However, in giving it to everyone, trying to reach herd immunity that way, let's calculate a 2% death rate. That's about, 20,000 per million, if I'm not mistaken. It's damn close. And so that's a big ripple. That's a big ripple in human life. I think sometimes we look at these numbers where we say, like, 3,000 people died in a bombing today in Beirut or whatever. Like, these are lives. These people have families, they have children, they have mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, whatever. They have communities. And so I think sometimes it's easy for us to look at these numbers and chalk them up as merely that, statistics,
Yeah.
And I try to empathize. It's morbid as hell, I admit, but sometimes it's like I try to look at these numbers and it's like, what would it look like if there were 3,000 dead bodies laying around me? And I could only imagine the horror and the pain, you know? And so when the TV says, when the television says, when the news networks or whoever, when they say, only, 2% of however many million will die,
It's still
that's
a lot.
that's a ripple. That's a
huge-
ripple. It's a ripple effect right through the population. And we live in a nation where it's difficult to get health care, And so I don't know. My personal solution, I think, was we needed to take a sort of socialism approach just for a short-term period of time, where they were like, everybody, you absolutely must stay the fuck home. You have to. Like, we're not giving you a choice.
I've heard about this. I've heard about socialism working in a survival situation amongst communities.
We can talk about we could talk about institutionalizing socialist programs within our system and everything else on a permanent basis at a later date. This is an emergency. And human lives. I'm not talking about corporate profits or shareholder fucking quarterly gains. I'm talking about humans, like people that bleed, people that cry, people that eat, things that require, resources. And so you just temporarily say, hey, listen, we'll give you like 80% of your income, but you have to stay home. Like you must, like, okay, like lockdown, motherfuckers.
Yep.
Okay. And then the lifespan of this virus is like what, 2 weeks? So it's just like, guys, we're going to stay in for 5-6 weeks. Like, stretch it out. Go 3 cycles of this virus's lifespan, and then outlive it. So then instead of having to go through a curve of infections in a year and reinfection and everything else, we just ended it on the day one. Or excuse me, on month 2.
On month 2.
And
Yes.
I just think that
In the span of how I see things going on, it would have been technically day 1. The course of a couple months, we're on our fifth, 6th month.
it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
It is our 5th, 6th month, and it's only going to get. And this is unfortunate because it's going to be cataclysmic. We're sending our children to institutions in which they're piled on top of each other, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Now,
I don't
imagine all the having to. Oh, I have to wear a mask. Oh, but he's not wearing a mask. All of that. Plus, on top of all the social justice warriors in high school and colleges now, and everything on top of what's happening in should we even go into politics and what's happening there? Like,
maybe
it's
maybe
crazy.
some other time. I mean, but it's all linked.
Yep.
Everything's interconnected. So I mean, we'll let the conversation take us where it goes.
Dominoes, how like people like domino experts, people who make huge like elaborate dominoes, they'll make them like separate, right? And then they'll have these safety spaces in between, just in case they fuck up, something happens that doesn't ruin the whole thing. Okay? And at the right moment before they collapse everything, they have to put those safety pieces in. And it's like our whole foundation is like built on those. And it feels like somebody, and we don't even have to place it on a blame, something, some idea, some little step in the way that we conducted ourselves as a society, as a people, led us down this like alternate path. Somebody fucked up and they dropped the little domino, and it.
My feeling is that,
And now all the dominoes are going.
and
you
the
can't
reason
stop
why
it.
the dominoes are going and in the wrong direction was that our society lost heart. We lost our human heart. We lost our compassion for each other, and we allowed the government to create phantom humans as corporations and giving them rights. It's unfortunate that the systems of man have created such corruption within the species.
I like how you say systems of man, because that's literally what it is, because it goes way beyond just the United States, way before than way. I mean, like I had it wasn't an argument. Like he was pretty much like, I think I should start my own change my mind thing, because I think I honestly changed this man's mind, and it was one of those moments where it was like, it was just about talking. It was just about talking and listening, being quick to listen, slow to talk, and you crawl to anger, right? because a lot of the time you'll try to have a conversation. I tried to have a conversation on college campus, and I was just kind of being yelled at. Oh, I'm a white supremacist, and you're this and you're that, screaming that they're promoting love at my face. I just felt angry. So like people are really quick for anger sometimes. I feel nowadays, especially, it feels like they're just quick to anger, not quick to listen.
Sometimes what it is intellect. When we think of intellect and the development of academia and how, you know what I mean? Like, we came from species that literally, like, at one point was like walking on all fours, to where we discovered that walking upright helped us see the, like, predatory cats and stuff in the grass, and it opened up two other legs for tools, you know?
Yeah.
So we've gone from that, taming fire, dogs, agriculture, okay? But then once we started building civilizations, academics became very important.
Yes.
Because we could take the knowledge of all these generations before us and wrap them up into a clear, concise lifestyle
And utilize them
and teach it to the kids. So that, and then every other generation is technically supposed to be better off than the next.
I wish I could go back in time because I'd like to see what the Library of Alexandria. I guarantee you, maybe 25% of maybe what was in there were survival like techniques, like surviving off the land, surviving, hunting, gathering, like all those old ancient things that they had to do. I guarantee you those were written down. I guarantee you those were things that were taught.
Imagine.
And at some point, when did we stop teaching, the fundamentals of survival and human instinct in school and academics?
Humanity's strange in that it has so much potential in love. So much potential in love and so much potential in war and hate and breeding hate. And they say that all's fair in both, right?
Now, is that a man-made construct?
I think love is something that humans have. It's part of our, it's within us. It's an emotion like anger and sadness. It's built in us. It's part of the survival instinct.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
I think everything feels love, because, why would your dog come running up to you after a long day of being away from the house if it did miss you and love you and want your attention because you gave it to it?
Right, and mammals have that. You know what I mean? Like Dr. Pohl would say, Dr. Pohl, Jan Pohl, I'm not sure if you've seen him on, he's got a show, The Incredible Dr. Pohl, very cool guy. And people talk about how their iguanas and shit love him. He's like, your iguana doesn't love you. Like, it's incapable of loving you. It tolerates you. He's like, but it's incapable of love, which I've always enjoyed because, lizards, it's the lizard brain, right? It's like we've evolved beyond that, and so have mammals.
Oh, yeah?
In general. I mean, you can tell. I watched a special once on Nat Geo regarding, I think it was bonobos, I could be wrong. But an elder had passed away, and like these monkeys had a ceremony. Like there was they brought the body to an area, and the community gathered, and they mourned together. And I was like, okay, this is advanced behavior for any sort of communal animal I've seen.
Oh man, they cry. They fucking I think I saw some of those YouTube videos, and wasn't one just trying to. Was the body found by the apes? Or was this the same video? They were found and they were holding him and cradling him
and
they
sending
him around and this is tragedy and they were crying, and that was really powerful to know that they have that just that emotional construct and ability to feel and love and connect that with an individual and connect that, and it's a lot of people I feel are disconnected with that ability to understand that, see that, and relate with that. You have a lot of animal lovers and crazy fanatics, and you have a lot of people who are for the peace. You have a lot of people for humanity, and there's a lot going on. It's like the more we all wanted to be one, the more we all wanted to be the same, or the more we all tried to be the same, the more egalitarian we wanted to be, the more different everything just kind of ended up skewing out.
Well, and that's okay. I mean, to me, when you look at it, it really depends on how you look at things. So, what is society ready to do? What is society ready to change? and then like when are the institutions that make our society, when are they ready to change?
Right.
You understand what I mean? So it's sort of
I
like,
have a question then. So
Okay.
is society ready to change Boy Scouts? Did you hear what recently happened? I think they went bankrupt.
okay, well, I mean, that's what happens when you have an institution in which you send vulnerable children to be exposed to strangers.
That's right. That's the story. There was a
You put trust in people. And the unfortunate lesson, especially when it comes to sexual abuse and the scars that it causes people, is that you keep your kids close, folks.
That's crazy.
Keep your kids close, because think about it. There wasn't protection in certain churches. There was not protection in even a secular institution like the Boy Scouts. It's predatory human behavior, and you gotta, and to me, it's a very somber subject, actually.
Yeah.
It's I think that, but this is the price.
Sorry about
like no, but like what was the price? No amount of bankruptcy can undo the psychological damage that's been done to those young boys and the families and their children. You know what I mean? And the scars that their parents had from those experiences. I've spoken with many people that were victims of sexual abuse, and that has led them into other abusive relationships, addiction problems, numerous other social issues, body image issues that are entirely unhealthy. And they probably wouldn't have felt that way and I could be wrong, I'm not a child psychologist, but I do believe that when people are given the opportunities and are able to develop within the proper timeline, you're not exposed to adult behavior and adult things at 7, 8 years old or whatnot, okay? That allows the actual development of the individual to come to fruition, and I think the most important thing is teaching young girls that they are equal. You look a man in the eyes when you talk, when you talk to him and when he talks to you, this is all equal. That
Respect.
we're all human.
Yes.
You are not below anyone. And
I think one of the things that Morgan Freeman said was, because an interviewer asked him, he was like, "How do we get rid of racism?" And he says, "Stop talking about it. You stop talking about it. You stop calling me black man. I'll stop calling you white man. You say, hey, how are you? We are all human beings. We are all."
It's amazing the small sort of gestures, which is what makes excuse me. I believe, I forgot where I was going with this. What were we talking about again, my friend? We were talking about, I don't know, I forgot.
I think I forgot. This is why the show is called Brain Farts.
'Cause
This is why the show is
that one's
called Brain
gone.
Farts. We will talk
gone.
and talk and talk, and then forget what we were fucking talking about.
And this is okay. This is okay, because then we just float on to another subject.
We do, yeah. We end up talking about whatever we really want.
Well, we were talking earlier about academics, sort of like the
we'll
importance of
go
academics.
back onto that.
I think academics are so important because it allows us, think how important communication is.
Communication is important, yes.
The written word, though.
It's everything.
The written word and
Math is important. 'Cause
literacy.
That's
Yeah.
the written word of physics and the way the world works.
Yeah, and we want to make sure that none of these developments can be destroyed again. You know what I mean? Let's just say that, shit hits the fan. What's the first thing you do when shit hits the fan, everyone? You duck. Duck, okay?
Duck.
And then...
hide under any kind of table, or because you don't want shit on you.
Yeah. And then, but then when it comes to the reconstruction or whatever, the revival, whatever we want to call it, you really need to just focus on gathering that data back. I need to be able to make a wood gasifier so I can run a generator, and even though the power goes down, we got hot showers in here. 3 cans of corn, 3 cans of corn, and
worked with generators for almost 3 years in LA, and that the wonderful thing about generators is you don't realize how much power you can push off of one until you do it.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, I can run this, I can run that, I can run that, I can run that, I can run that.
The idea is just being able to get petrol.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so with your petrol product, you just use a wood gasifier. I think FEMA provides them free online, a PDF. I highly recommend downloading that. Just because you never know. You never know.
Hey, those hoarders and preppers, the doomsday preppers. That's what they're called, not hoarders. Doomsday preppers. That show. I'm sure most of them are laughing right now. I'd be like, "Ha, we're prepared. We're gonna survive."
So I'm not entirely sure what our runtime is today. What do you think?
Where are we at? We at half?
8:34.
Are we at half?
Yeah,
8:34.
Approximately. Because I like to discuss one more cool thing, just cool science project for our viewers if they're interested. So, folks, I'm going to tell you one thing. If you have one of those old style, you can see my aura again, see right on this side, and so there's something called a Fresnel lens. It's a type of magnifying glass, okay, that comes from, if you remember back in the day, they had them in those old projection screen TVs. They were the ones that, like back in the 90s, early 2000s. They were huge. Okay, now those things are amazing, and certain types are better than others, but they're all good. And what it is that a Fresnel lens will take a certain area. So if you've got like a 58-inch screen TV, you've got that much area of sunlight that if you put it on a frame, and you set it to go with the sun. Excuse me. Thank you. I was trying to think it's like the perihelion or something, whatever the word is. So you go with it, and at the focal point, it is concentrating so much, literally so much heat energy that you can forge with it.
Whew.
Yeah. You can forge with it. It's really fun. It's exceptionally dangerous. Okay, so like, warning, like it's
like Da Vinci's mirror.
Yeah, it's fun science. So I recommend looking up Green Power Science on YouTube with Dan Rojas, and he'll show you different cool things. It's called Green Power Science.
Green Power Science.
Green Power Science, and
Look
he does
that up.
Fresnel lens. You can cook with it. You can use. Like, you got to be careful. Like, don't take the Fresnel lens and start playing with a mirror in it and get yourself in the eye. Like, you
can blind yourself. I mean, most of the lenses, there were a lot of lenses that we used in 2Ks and PARs. When I was in LA, I worked in lighting, electrical, and grip. And Fresnel lenses are absolutely amazing. They're really expensive. So if you're going to do it, try to look for used lighting fixtures. Actually, I know some LA grip and electric. What do we got here? It says he's showing us something. There we go. We actually got a video of it working.
Lens. Yes.
This is with a Fresnel lens.
She's using a wide beam one. Does this happen to be Dan Rojas? But yeah, you can cook with it. He's going to use that cast iron.
Look at that.
And you're cooking with the sun. All you're using is the natural.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's using a wide beam one. You can actually get it to a pretty fine focal point. It's hot. Like I had a what do they call it? An infrared thermometer.
Yeah.
And it couldn't read it. It hit 999 and then went error.
It was too hot.
Yeah,
Over 1,000
it
degrees.
was,
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there you go. That's one right there.
Woo.
Excellent image. So that's a Fresnel lens. So you can build a cool frame like that. And it's fun. It's fun experiments.
Yeah, the ones I'm talking about are in light fixtures, so they're tiny. They've been shaped and they've been,
You can get small ones, and they're great too. Like even little survival tools. You can get like a little $80 one. It's like an 8x11.
Right.
But I mean, anywhere you go, you can start a fire with this. I mean, it's a lens. Like you know what I mean? You can just it's the kind of flexible.
You're on, making fires. We're on that subject. I want to go back to the academics really quick because I've always felt that we have kind of failed the generation of humans by not teaching survival in schools. Not teaching the fundamental basics of what it means to actually survive in the real world. You know what I mean? Like in high school, obviously I understand that young kids can't sometimes grasp the idea of having to survive out in the wilderness. But besides Boy Scouts, besides Girl Scouts, besides all of that, I feel like that's something that should be inherent in how we live as human beings, knowing how to do that without society.
I think that's interesting. I guess that we would run into the debate as to whether or not that's the responsibility of one's parents or the state.
True.
and that would be an excellent discussion because I actually think that it's a great idea. But I guess the whole point is when's a good time and what's appropriate. Should we be teaching kids to play with fire? I mean, I remember
right.
being in high school though. I'm going to be honest. You're right because
Yep.
fire safety is definitely necessary. But there were some creepy, people.
Creepy kids who would
Excuse
like to
some of
play
you
with
if you're my viewers, but there were some people in my class that when we were playing with the Bunsen burners, I had some concerns.
Yeah.
I had.
Yeah, same.
I had some concerns. I was just worried, do I got to watch my back here, And so, that's the. So that's most of the extent of my interest in playing with fire at school.
Especially like you're an institution now. You've given that ability, that learned ability, that kind of like responsibility of okay, you know how to start a fire, and that's a huge thing because of arsoning, because of people going out immaturely starting fires, and yeah, that's a huge thing. I do get that.
Yeah, but fire safety is super important.
Yeah, and I think like most European countries, like with alcohol, how they'll have it at dinner with the younglings in the house, and 16, 15, 16, glass of wine, you're with mom, pa, and when they're in that environment and taught responsibility by show of example, with some trust and guidance, not just 100% trust. There's a lot of guidance and structuring there. Most of those people don't end up alcoholics later on. They don't feel the need to. Well, I was told not to for so long, and then they overdo it, and they get sucked down into a road. And like I feel like the same would be as in if we taught the kids very young how much fire really is important, how dangerous it can be, and you kind of teach that along with the safety and along with understanding, with guidance and trust, and and it could be it's one of those things that could be just a regular thing every year in school, a safety course or something,
or some sort of maybe summer program in which they can be outside because. And then again, when you think on a national scale, you look at California and stuff, we can't be having nobody making fires.
No. In that case, you have to learn how to survive without fire. That Fresnel Lens thing would be optimal out there.
That's a good point.
But then because that's a very expensive thing to get. I mean, to just.
Well, I have like 4, but I get them for free. Like people are throwing out those TVs. They won't be around forever though. You know what I mean? But like recycle them. It's useful. They even have regular concave and convex lenses in there that if you can get them, get them. Lenses are like, don't play around, guys. Go online, look how much a lens is. If you can get one free out of a TV,
now all I need to do is make a giant camera. That'd be a warpy image.
Imagine like being cool, like making sort of like a homemade telescope or something. Like, dude, we have like 5 planets in the sky right now, don't we? You can see like Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn.
Okay, Google.
She doesn't work, remember? And mine's not connected to the internet.
She worked right before the show. She won't work tonight.
Well, that's okay. She's taking a break, man. Put her on vacation.
Yeah, well, Google doesn't deserve vacation. It's a robot, man.
Just let her be.
Oh,
Everybody.
No, I just did it. A whole thing, a whole community of people saying, "Come on, Google, you're not fucking working," and then Google's gonna take over the world and destroy all of us.
She's just gonna take it over. Her, Alexa, and Siri are gonna band up. And they're gonna be the new squad.
They're gonna start making a lingo between each other, and it's gonna be about how humans are just destroying everything. So, just why bother?
Well, see, I think I was watching a special on AI, and they'll run AI and they'll do like interviews with AI on like television shows and stuff.
Can we put up? I want to look at the robots, like the really realistic human. What's her name?
Yeah. But didn't they ask her, like they were interviewing her and she made a joke about like enslaving the human race or something? Like it was like AI has a certain tendency to really dislike us, and that's something like remember. I'm not a theologian by any means. You guys will notice I have many opinions and no expertise on any of them. However, the Tower of Babel was built, right? And the Creator struck us down. You gotta do the same thing with AI, dude, because we're playing. If you think that like getting microchipped and stuff was bad, dude, wait until you got like.
Do you believe that the vaccine's gonna get microchipped?
No. Dude, think of the amount of money it would take to make like 1 trillion microchips.
That's so. Oh, this is it. This is it. Isn't this the most
These like
bizarre? These are automated faces, computers that have self-integrating learning AI, like algorithms.
Yeah.
Everything's run off of algorithms. Mm-hmm. So.
See, but there's.
It's just
Okay,
creepy.
one thing. Okay,
it's
so
creepy.
I would say something like this. Okay, the Greek story, if I'm not mistaken, of Icarus. Okay.
Yeah.
This is how I feel
Fly
with
too
AI.
close to the sun.
Exactly.
Your wings will get burnt.
Yes, we're gonna fly. We're flying too close to the sun.
Yeah.
We're like, especially when it comes to AI. And I'm telling you, dude, this is a lesson taught by great men 1,000 generations before us. Okay? Fuck around, find out. Okay?
Fuck around, find out.
And this is a warning. This is a warning to humanity regarding AI. Just don't do it, guys. Keep it tame.
AI is the alligator that seems to be docile, and then you mess with it, and it'll fucking eat you. You're done.
Well, just don't let it. Some dogs you keep on a leash. Some dogs you keep on a leash. Some dogs you keep in a kennel.
That's a big fucking leash there you're gonna need for an alligator like that.
Yeah, but if you give him a name like Billy Bong Thornton or something,
Yes.
you know what I mean? I think that's really the best output here. But we're gonna have to give him a better name, like Charles or like
Danny. He's eating me.
the letter M is really sticking out to me, like Marlin.
Marlin.
Marlin the Gator.
Yeah, Marlin the Gator. I like
So
it. This is like his jaw is like.
And he's
literally
eating
like,
your head. Like Marlin's hungry, dude.
Right.
Yep. So I
Flip
think
it over.
that we can discuss. I'm gonna talk about one of the most heroic acts I've ever heard of, and it was depicted actually in a popular cartoon called South Park. And so Towley is standing at the end of a sort of like a catwalk that's collapsed. And the kids, Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and everything, they're like hanging on for dear life. And the evil corporate towel is there, and he's got like a huge spliff. And he's like, Towley, you have a choice here. Either you save the kids, or you take this joint. Which one's it gonna be, Towley? And Towley's there, and we all know how much Towley likes his joint, right? But we also know how much he likes his friends. Mm-hmm. And so he's standing on that catwalk, and he says, I choose both. And he reaches out with the power, and he saves both the children and gets the spliff.
Yeah.
So he gets both high and both heroic. And that is the closing of tonight's show.
Fuck around and find out.
Kind
both.
regards. Live long and prosper.
Live long, prosper. Have a great night. This is Brain Farts, Justin, Drew. We'll have some more obscene discussions next time for you.
Thank you very much.